Communication is important in every relationship. What people fail to realize is that you can't communicate well in a relationship if you don't know your partner's primary love language. Imagine meeting someone whose primary language is different from yours. You might have good intentions towards the person, but your communication would always be limited. The same thing happens when it comes to relationships. People speak different primary love languages. If we want to communicate effectively, we must learn the language of those with whom we wish to communicate. And in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the 5 primary love languages and how to communicate them in your relationships. Welcome to Healthy Minds Talk, a podcast created to help you grow, bring awareness to mental health, and also remind you that it's not all in your head. There is hope, even when your brain tells you there isn't. I'm Praise Victor, and I remain your host on this show. In 2020, I read Gary Chapman's book, The 5 Love Languages, The Secret to Love That Lasts, and I came to realize something. Most relationships and marriages end because both partners are speaking different languages. When a relationship starts, there's always the in love experience in quotes, and during this period, we're like emotionally obsessed with our partners. We go to sleep thinking of them, and when we wake up, they're like the first thought that comes to our minds. When you spend time together, it's like the best time of your life. Like, you don't want it to ever end. You dream of them and you long to be with them forever. Now, one who has this in love experience is of the view that their partner is perfect in all ways. And according to Dr. Gary in his book, he said the longest period of this in love experience is 2 years. And after this period, we're not naive anymore. We begin to see our partner's flaws and our eyes are opened. We start to find some of their personality traits irritating, and we see annoying behavioral patterns. The next thing you realize is they're not as attractive as they were at the beginning of the relationship. You now start to wonder how you didn't see all these before and if it was just a facade. Don't misunderstand me, okay? I'm not saying when you fall in love it isn't real. I mean, I've fallen in love, and definitely if someone had told me that that was not real, that it was just in the in love experience, I would tell them to probably keep that opinion to themselves and just let me be in love. But all I'm saying is, most times people are of the belief that this in love experience lasts forever, and it doesn't. Maybe it does, but that's only possible when you understand each other's love languages. When you're done being so obsessed with your partner and you start to express your desires for the relationship and yourself, but you see that it's entirely different from what he or she wants, you start thinking that maybe it wasn't real after all. You begin to see that you two are different human beings and your minds are not together. You don't have the same goals when it comes to relationships and other matters of life, and you only had similar emotions swimming in the ocean of love for a certain period of time. Now you begin to think that you've fallen out of love when you start seeing that you have different opinions and thoughts on things and your mindsets are not aligning. But have you really fallen out of love? Or you've just opened your eyes to reality? How can you know the difference between the in love experience and real love? Now, according to Gary Chapman, he said the in love experience does not focus on our own growth, nor on the growth and development of the other person. Rather, it gives us the sense that we have arrived. This experience makes us feel less lonely and loved. It gives a temporary emotional apex of life's happiness. It tends to disengage our reasoning abilities, and we often find ourselves doing and saying things that we would never have done in more sober moments. When we come down from the emotional obsession, we often wonder why we did those things. We start to ask why we got into the relationship in the first place. Like, probably you start to notice that, okay, she wants a totally different thing and I'm not able to provide that, or he wants something from me that I cannot provide or I'm not ready to do at this stage of my life, and you just feel like this isn't working, and you start to realize that, you start to ask yourself that, was it really love that brought you guys together in the first place, or it was just, based on a few tingling emotions that you guys had and you guys just clicked and connected. Our most basic emotional need is not to fall in love, but to be genuinely loved by another. To know a love that grows out of reason and choice, not instinct. I need to be loved by someone who chooses to love me, who sees something in me that is worth loving. You know, After the in love experience is over, you can either decide if you've fallen out of love, or you can pursue the real love with your partner. Real love starts when you decide that although your partner is an entirely different thing from you, you will put in efforts to try and understand them better. This kind of love requires effort and discipline. At this stage, you start asking yourself how you can meet each other's emotional needs. I usually see these codes that tend to imply that if it's real love, then you don't have to like put in so much effort to make it work. But real love actually requires effort. Like, there is literally nothing that you'd want to do in this life and you want it to succeed that you wouldn't put in the efforts. Efforts are required in everything, even in relationships. Love is not enough, you have to put in efforts. So if you choose to follow this path, you have to know your partner's love language in order to fill in their emotional tank. Now I'm going to be moving on to the 5 love languages. The first one is words of affirmation. Naturally, when someone compliments you, you feel confident about yourself, right? I mean, I love complimenting people too, and I love it when people compliment me. Like, okay, I know that I look good on a normal day. I mean, I always look good, but then someone comes up to me and says, I love your hair, or I love your smile. And oh my god, that just makes my day. Like, probably if I'm like feeling sad or down about something and someone just compliments me, instantly, like, I forget about it and I just, get confidence from that. So if someone compliments you naturally on a good day, you feel confident about yourself, right? So give verbal compliments to your partner, because it's a way to fill in their emotional tank and make them feel loved. Sometimes your partner might feel insecure or lack the courage to tell you, but you don't have to wait till when your partner feels insecure. One thing I love, like one thing I admire in relationships, is when there is like constant reassurance. Like, if you know that you truly love your partner, and you don't have to like wait till they do something special before you tell them I love you. Sometimes us girls we can have all these crazy thoughts, and they probably just spring up from nowhere, and you'd be like, he probably doesn't love me anymore, because you can't remember the last time he told you that he loved you. And I don't even know why you'd be in a relationship with someone that won't constantly reassure you and tell you that they love you. But I need you to just give your partner that constant reassurance. Remind them regularly of how much they mean to you and why they are special. Another instance is maybe your partner has the potential to do something, but they're scared and they feel like it's never going to be good enough. They just need encouraging words to motivate them to develop their potential. So you should be the one, you should be the first person that should give them that encouraging word, that word of affirmation that you are strong, you can do this, I believe in you, you've got this. You should be that person. You should be the first person to do that. You don't have to wait for them to tell you that I'm not feeling really good about this, I don't think that I can do this, I don't see myself as competent enough. You don't have to wait for them to tell you that. You should be there all the time, encouraging them. Encouragement, according to Gary Chapman, he said encouragement requires empathy and seeing the world from your partner's perspective. We must first learn what is important to our partners. So encouraging words sound like, if you decide to do that, I can tell you one thing, you'll be a success. That's one of the things I like about you. When you set your mind to do something, you do it. If that's what you want to do, I will certainly do everything I can to help you. That is an example of you encouraging your partner to do something that they are so passionate about, but they are probably just scared to take the first step. Verbal encouraging words show your partner that you care and support them every step of the way. And I want to also say this before I go to the next love language. It's not all about verbal encouragement. I know I just emphasized on that, but you also have to be kind too. When you disagree with your partner on something, you can express your hurt and disappointment in a calm and kind way. When I say words of affirmation, I don't just mean like you telling them every morning or whenever they feel down and encouraging them at all. It also involves you saying kind words even when you don't feel like it, even when you are angry, even when you are hurt, even when you're disappointed in them. You still have to show up as that kind partner. Don't let your emotions get the better part of you and you just express your anger in an unhealthy way. For example, let's say you guys had a disagreement the night before. I'm not like a big fan of you having a disagreement with your partner and you just holding grudges and keeping it to the next day. I mean, yeah, it's hard sometimes, but how do you sleep? Not relating to Sam Smith songs that says, "How do you sleep when you lie to me?" But no, how do you sleep at night knowing that your partner is like extremely angry with you, or you start having this fear that, oh my god, how do I talk to them again? How do I tell them that I'm not also okay with us being like this? How do I express myself? So basically, before you go to sleep at night, make sure you are on good terms with your partner. Let's say you guys had a disagreement the night before and you have to, like, you were in a phone conversation, and then either of you hung up. You can just come up the next day and say, the way you hung up last night was very rude. I was hurt and disappointed rather. Oh my god, English is so hard. I was hurt and disappointed, but I'm sorry that I offended you. That sounds way better than you calling them back the next morning and yelling at them, telling them that they don't deserve you because you're so kind and you see yourself as this perfect person, and then you hang up because they hung up on you the night before, and so you hang up the next morning just to make yourself feel better. That is not how to resolve conflicts in relationships. I totally should make an episode on that. Yeah, but that is not how to resolve conflicts in relationships. The manner in which you speak is extremely important. So if your partner's love language is words of affirmation, compliment them when you're put alone, in the presence of their friends, parents, and kids if you have any. But I feel like the people listening right now do not have kids. But if you do have kids, still compliment your partner in their presence, okay? That is so beautiful. Like, I like it when you're like free to express the love you have for your partner, even in the presence of your kids. I'm not married, by the way. I'm just saying this because it's really nice. So, look for your partner's strengths and tell them how much you appreciate them. Write a poem or a long paragraph describing how you feel about them. I personally love poems. If you love me so much, please send me a poem filled with, lovely messages and things you love about me. I would totally appreciate it and probably frame it in my room because I am like a lover of poetry. So, yeah. The second love language that we're going to be talking about today is quality time. There is no way you can fully understand your partner if you don't spend enough time with them. I mean, I've heard situations where someone, like a female friend, came up to me and she was like, she doesn't even know if she's still in a relationship because she hardly communicates with her partner. They don't spend time together anymore as they used to, and if she wants to bring up that matter in a conversation, he just like ghosts her. That is just no. That is a no. Sis, you need to leave that relationship. Anyways, there is no fully way that you can understand your partner if you don't spend enough time with them. Spending time with your partner is everything. You get to talk about life challenges, you get to motivate each other, you get to be, there for each other and provide the support that you need. Togetherness has to do with focused attention. When you're spending time with your partner, it's important to give them your undivided attention. Your partner shouldn't be talking to you about something and then you're busy doing another thing. It's wrong. I think I'm laughing right now because I had a memory just now about when I was in a relationship and I was talking to my partner. We were on the phone and I was talking to him, and then I was really serious about what I was saying, but he was like scrolling through something else on his phone, and he was on the other end of his phone and he was sounding so distracted, and I was just so pissed and I hung up. That is not the right way to do things, but at the same time, be focused and pay attention when your partner is talking to you about something. It might not even be something they're passionate about. It doesn't have to be something that is so serious. Even if it's a little petty gist or gossip about something or something funny that happened to them during the day, give them your 100% attention. You can, if you got like in the physical space with your partner, you can look them in the eye, nod your head, or probably even add a point or two to whatever they're saying to show that you are listening to them. Sometimes you don't need to add anything to what they're saying. If they're like talking about something that's really stressing them or making them worried, you can just let them vent about it, about their pains and frustrations, and learn to listen in order to communicate love. Gary Chapman said, a relationship calls for sympathetic listening with a view to understanding the other person's thoughts, feelings, and desires. We must be willing to give advice, but not only when it is requested and never in a condescending manner. If quality time is your partner's love language, don't listen to your partner and do something else. Maintain eye contact when they're talking. Listen for their feelings and don't interrupt them. Okay, that is all I have for you on quality time. The next thing the next love language is receiving gifts. Gifts are a symbol of love. I love gifts. I love it when someone, like, not necessarily like in a relationship now, probably a friend, you just bought something for me out of the blues and you just say that I just wanted to get this for you. Like, I would fall in love with you the more if you just do that to me. But honestly, gifts are a symbol of love. It's not the quantity or the price of the gifts that usually matter. It's the thought behind the gift. You can just say, you can get something for your partner and say something like, I saw this while coming from work and it reminded me of you, so I bought it. God, Jesus, love is actually so sweet. Like, when you think of it, love is really sweet, especially when you have the best supportive partner that just gets you gifts out of the blues. Like, oh, melts my heart. But anyways, visual symbols of love are important to some people than others. If you have no idea of the gifts you could buy for your partner, ask them what they like. You should actually even know what your partner likes. I mean, why wouldn't you know what your partner likes and what your partner doesn't like? You're in a relationship. You should know each other. You should have gotten to that stage. By doing this, you are investing in your relationship and you are filling your partner's emotional tank. Physical presence in the time of crisis is the most powerful gift you can give your partner. If his or her primary love language is receiving gifts, being with your partner in important events like birthdays, childbirth, that's if you're married, or even a parent's funeral, is so important. Your body becomes a symbol of love in this situation. If your partner's love language is receiving gifts, imbibe the spirit of giving right now in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen to that. Because you should even have the spirit of giving, even if like your partner's love language is not receiving gifts. But I doubt anybody's love language will not be receiving gifts, because okay, I'm saying this for girls, but I also think guys love gifts too. If you're a girl, a lady, a woman, married woman, and you're listening to this, you should absolutely gift your partner. Do not wait for like their birthdays or anniversaries before you gift them something. It should be something you do regularly, probably on a weekly basis. It doesn't even have to like, you don't have to like have a timetable on it, but just do it regularly to show them how much you love them. The fourth love language is acts of service. By acts of service, I mean doing the things you know your partner would like. If you don't know, you can ask them, simple actions like washing the dishes, doing the laundry, cooking a meal goes a long way to fulfill the emotional needs of some partners. As for me, even though I know you guys did not ask, but as for me, I would say that in acts of service, mine would totally be cooking a meal, because I do not like cooking. It's not like I'm not skilled in cooking, but I don't like cooking. So if you want to be my partner, or if you are my partner, please learn how to cook. And I'm not saying that you're gonna be cooking like all the time, but it's not necessary you do this all the time. When I talk about acts of service, it's not that I'm not telling you to like be a maid or something, but it's just you being supportive to your partner, helping them to do the dishes. You shouldn't just leave all the physical chores for your partner to do because you feel like it's a gender thing. That is not right. Like, please get that out of your head. Like, be supportive. Okay, if you'd like your partner to do something for you too, you should ask them to do it with love. Don't demand it from them. There's a difference between asking for something and demanding something. You are their lover, you are not a tyrant. You know, requests give direction to love, but demands stop the flow of love. If you demand them to do something for you, they might choose not to do it because of how you approached them. Love is a choice and cannot be coerced. So, if your partner's love language is acts of service, make a list of all the requests they've made the past few weeks and do them one by one. Probably your partner has been telling you to help them do this stuff, help them do this stuff, help them do this stuff, but you have just been ignoring it. I am telling you today that if you know that you truly love your partner and you want to be supportive, please start doing them. Ask your partner also for probably something they'd like you to do for them, and do it. Don't just ask, and you can't just even ask for something and then not do it. No, ask, get the feedback, and then do them. Also, ask your partner for the daily activities that would speak love to them, and do it. The last and the fifth love language before we go is physical touch. Physical touch. Okay, if you didn't know anything about what I've been saying this morning, you should definitely know that physical touch is a common way, very, very common in this generation, of expressing emotional love. Holding hands, kissing, embracing, they're all common ways of expressing and communicating emotional love to your partner. Gary Chapman said, physical touch can make or break a relationship. It can communicate hate or love. And this is very true, because just because physical touch is an expression of love doesn't mean that all touches are created equally. When it comes to physical touch, I don't just mean the romance part of it. Sometimes physical touch is also toxic. If the partner is toxic and constantly just beats you when there's a disagreement, and then they come back to apologize, and you're just used to that routine or that cycle, that's just toxic. And please, I'm advising you today, if you're listening to this, if you're in a toxic relationship, I get it that you love that person, you really do, but at the same time, they are hurting you, and they are hurting you, and you just need to help yourself, because if you don't save yourself, no one is coming to save you. You have to take that step by yourself to leave that relationship and probably get help, like see a therapist or a counselor, because if you might get used to that toxic pattern of love if you don't see a therapist or someone that could help you. I'm not a therapist, but there are, therapy apps that are online. You can search for them. And if you're in Nigeria, there's a mental health page that you can go to and just message them on Instagram. I will drop it in the description so you guys can check that out if you do need a therapist. Now, some partners find certain forms of touch uncomfortable. So don't make the mistake that every touch you give to your partner brings pleasure, or don't say that because that kind of touch brings pleasure to you, it would indirectly bring pleasure to them. Learn to speak your partner's love language. If your partner's primary love language is physical touch, nothing is more important than holding them as they cry. I'm an emotional person, so if I'm crying, I just want my partner to hold me and tell me everything is going to be alright. And I'm sure so many other people feel that way. So if your partner's love language is physical touch, reach out and hold hands with them in public, hug them frequently, massage their shoulders after they finish a tedious work. I had to add this because I love massages and it's just a way of expressing love too. So definitely always massage your partner, even if you don't know how to do it. Just do something, at least they will know you care. Do something, massage them after they finish a tedious work. So that's it for the 5 love languages. The next and the last thing I want you to know is how you can know your partner's love language, because I've told you guys about the 5 love languages now, and you're probably wondering, how would I know which one is my partner's love language? Do they even have a love language? Do I even have a love language? Of course, yes, you do. You do have a love language. And it's easy to know your partner's love language. You just have to notice that your partner's criticisms about your behavior provides you with the clearest clue to what their primary love language is. People tend to criticize their partners. Now, when I say criticize, I'm not saying condemn, but these are just like aspects of your behavior that your partner probably doesn't like, and they talk to you about it. For me, I'd say I'd be open right now and say that mine would be in the aspect of communicating verbally my needs. Like, I'm learning now and I'm changing, and I love it that I am growing into this changed and better person. But for me, I'd say that I know my partner's love language is me knowing how to communicate to them verbally, how to communicate my needs, and just being open to them. So basically, people tend to criticize their partners most loudly in the areas where they have the deepest emotional needs. Their criticism is an ineffective way of pleading for love. Like, probably, let me see. Okay, let me try and use one of the love languages as an example. There's words of affirmation. Okay, let me use words of affirmation. Let's say you're in a relationship. If you're single like me, don't worry. We'll be fine. We'll find a partner at the end of the day very soon. But if you're in a relationship, or when you're in a relationship and your partner keeps on asking you that, do you think I'm good at this? Or they kind of indirectly antagonize you because they feel like you don't believe in them enough. They just need the word of affirmation from you that, babe, you've got this. I am super proud of you. We are in this together. That is just an example of your partner indirectly showing you that they need you to encourage them verbally. So, if you understand that, that would help you process the criticism in a more productive manner. So whenever your partner is complaining about, your behavior in a certain way or in a certain aspect, don't just take it with anger. You have to take it with an understanding that they are also indirectly trying to communicate something to you. They're trying to tell you that they want you to do this more because they love it when you do it more. It fills their emotional tank when you do it more. So basically, that is how the simplest way you can know your partner's love language. And you can also ask them. It's very easy. You're close to your partner. You guys should communicate about everything. So it shouldn't be hard for you to walk up to your partner and ask him or her, what would you like me to do more? What would you like me to do that I have not been doing? It's easy. That's basically the best way to communicate in a relationship. So I hope that you have learned something from today's episode, because I've also learned something from the episode I just recorded, which is quite weird. But thank you guys so much for listening. That's all for today's episode. And remember, there are 5 love languages: words of affirmation, physical touch, gifts, acts of service, and what is the last one? Quality time. Yeah, so you can also add more. They don't necessarily, your love language doesn't necessarily have to be all these things. They can also fall under these things, and you can also communicate that to your partner. But thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform you're using to listen to right now. And please follow us on Instagram at This My Little World and on Twitter at Healthy Minds. I would see you guys next Monday. Thank you.